we're gonna look at what is Git for this video tutorial. So we know we need a place to store your code, right? Code, not just a code or any documents, right? So we said this place should be able to control your version of your document, right? Version control, right? Like you may say, well, today I create a document, I type something in, and tomorrow I come back, I update my document, and I put this back into the place where I want to have my version control. Like now, if you save the file on your desktop, you probably, if you update tomorrow, that old version is gone, unless you have to do save as. But this one you don't have to. Okay, it just keep tracking on the history for you. So this is a good place to store your coding if you write the code, right? For computer programming. So you see that numbers of software projects rely on Git for version control. We talk about version control. We see the code that you change today and tomorrow. Sometimes you make change and you say you want to revert back, right? Then you can just go back to your version control and get it back. Alright, so let's look at beside Git, we also have CVS, SVN, those are subversion, okay? Those are very popular before, and now Git is very popular. Like SVN, a lot of people still use them, okay? Especially in the government section. So now we know what is Git, right? So let's look at, I have some security on this too. I look at flexibility. Git is flexible in several respects. In support for various kind of non-linear development workflow. Its efficiency in both small and large projects, and its compatibility with many existing systems and protocols. So why? Because it's been designed to support branching and tagging. So what is that? We're going to see that. Okay, let's look at this. So let's say I'm writing a program. So I have hello.java. So this program is located in my machine. This is the local, right? Local environment. I want to put this into the Git or version control, right? Name Git. So first you need to install Git. Okay, you can just download Git, install on your local machine. So now your local machine has Git. Alright, so we need to know how to use Git. Alright, so we can look at Git command. So we're gonna learn command. They have to UI too. Graphic user interface. But what we learn, we just learn command on Git bash, right? So we have Git bash. We're going to open Git bash right here after we install, right? So we need to initialize the, we call repository, right? For Git, or the place where you store your file, right? So we have a command to do that. Okay, so we'll learn how to do that. Like, you can just start with Git tutorial, right? So the first command that you look at is initialize your Git, which is Git init. Alright, so now we're going to do it right on this screen, right? We're going to do Git init. So it says initialize Git in this location for you, right? So meaning that this file should be ready. Okay, look at the location of the folder. You see that when you do git init, you have .git folder showing up. Alright, so .git folder showing up is empty, so we need to create a file into this. So it said, let's do git status. Git status is checking if we need something to just typo git status. We need something to put on, right? And you see that it happened to the user happened to create the file name octocat.txt, right? Just like I show you, I have hello.java created, right? So we're going to do that exercise in git bash after we finish this tutorial. So when you do git status, it's pretty much just showing that nothing to commit because it was empty. It was empty. Now I just finished creating octocat.txt, right? Then if I do git status again, let's see what happened. Okay, so it say untracked files because happen to find that there's octocat.txt in the git initialized repository here. So it's untracked is right, meaning that if you want to track it, you have to put into the git version control system, right? Like now, like hello.java, just like that, octocat.txt is untracked, right? I put git status, it make it as git folder inside here, but it's untracked, right? So now we need to put this into what we call this is a git repository, right? We have to put in here, then we can track it, right? We want to put this in this, right? But between that, that's why I stop it there. Between that, we need to make the list that we want to make it track. This list, like for example, I may have several files, not just hello.java, right? Maybe after you compile, get the hello.class. You don't want to have the hello.class in there because it's not necessary. You can just do javac and get hello.class back. You only want hello.java because that's source code, right? Then you need to what we call staging. This is staging. Staging is where you put the list, right? S-T-A-G-G-I-N-G, right? You can put the list like, hey, I want hello.java, right? To put into the git repository, right? And if you have more files, you can have in there too. Now, go back to tutorial here. Octocat.txt is not in the staging yet, right? To do in the staging, we use this command git add and followed by the file name, right? So that means to do this, you just do the add command, right? So we gotta type git add. Alright, let's do that on the tutorial. Octocat.txt. Nice job. Okay, so you just need to type git status again. You check that it's in staging now. So it's green, right? It's pretty much just on branch master initial commit. Remember we have branching system, so this is the master branch. Layer 3 you can make it into other branches after that. Okay, but now we just talk about one branch, which is master branch. So if you want to branch it, you can have like, okay, I have two separate route, and one can update the original branch into one version, and another one can update the original branch into the second version, and then you can just merge them back later. Like you can separate into two teams to work in the same code, right? In different sections. That's the point of branching. But now we don't worry about that. We just say there's one branch and this master branch. And say, okay, if you want to unstage this, like now it's in the staging, right? This is a staging. If you want to remove it, you don't want to commit it. We call commit mean put all the files that you want to put in the repository for Git from staging, we commit it. So we're going to use the commit command. If you don't want that, you can just use command to remove, like from staging, right? Which is git rm -- cache and file name. But now we don't want to remove, we're going to commit into the repository, right? Use commit, then the file is going to go in here after you commit. So hello.java is going to be in the Git repository, right? And this whole thing is local. No, this is still local. So let's do Git commit now. So I'm going to put, and Git commit -m. -m is the argument to stand for message. You want to put a message into the commit, because when you update your code, you may have several versions. Then you want to make a note that what happened to this version of code. You don't want to say version 1, 2, 3 because you don't know what changed in there, right? So this is pretty much just saying that, okay, I add cute AutoCAD story, right? That's just the message, first add. Let me know this is the first time we're adding it. Alright, so now time go by and we create more files beside AutoCAD. We have blue AutoCAD and red AutoCAD, right? So they are not in the Git repository because we only have AutoCAD, because we only commit AutoCAD, right? Because we just state AutoCAD. Now I want to make sure I only add those two into the Git repository. What should we do? Like comparing back to this image, right? Let's say I have two more files, right? So I have Chapter1.java and another file, Chapter2.java. So I want these two to go into the Git repository too. How would I do that? Same, right? First you want to move Chapter1 into the staging environment, right? And also the same with Chapter2.java into the staging, correct? How do we do that? We need a command, right? The command to that is git add, right? So we can type git add Chapter1.java, but we say, hey, they're all ending with .java, Chapter1 and 2. Why don't we just use wildcard, right? Then wildcard just like regular expression, right? That asterisk represent any name that ending with .java will go there, right? But in this case, in our exercise, we just do .txt, right? Because blue AutoCAD and red AutoCAD, they are text, right? Then we're going to do that. Okay, so we said did not add. Alright, so let's put the code around. Okay, good. So now when you do that, it's just staging, correct? Which is still in the staging, it's not in the repository yet. So what should we do to make sure that these two new files is going to get into the repository? We said we need commit command, right? Because add only due to staging. So we need to do a git commit, and then you just put a new message with -m, right? And then you can just add the message that you want, right? Like in this case, it's just say add all the text files, okay? So we can say add all .txt files. Alright, so success.
So we will come back and look at the